Please.
AJ?
Yep.
Kelsey?
Kelsey Roos with The Athletic. JB, what stood out overall tonight just about the way that the guys pulled this one out?
I thought we were good defensively. I thought we did a good job of controlling the tempo, playing at our pace. And then, again, lessons learned at the end of the game, right? They made a run, cut it to 12, I think it was. But our guys didn't panic. We got into our sets, executed our sets, and were able to extend the lead. So continuing to learn how to finish, but I thought we did a good job of that tonight.
I know we've talked a lot about Lamar, but in closing minutes, what has stood out about the way that he has played with that group and just kind of been out there on the floor in those important
He's got great poise, and he's not afraid of the moment. There's not a matchup he doesn't believe he's got the favor in. And, at the end of the game, when you got guys like Donovan and Darius and their ability to create for others and score, you're going to need to get those stops. And he's been able to fit in with that group to help them get stops. The threesome, him and Jared and Evan, it's tough defensively. And then again, you got those two guys who can create for everybody. So we're working to find that balance, but I think he's done a great job so far.
Thank you.
Brendan Gulick, Cavs Insider on SI. It feels like a strange box score because the guys that had the best plus-minus tonight offensively weren't particularly active, didn't take a lot of shots, didn't score a lot. How do you evaluate a night where you see some of those odd statistical discrepancies?
Plus minuses are for contract negotiations. Right? I just think that you'll find rhythm and you'll find guys and that just contribute. Like you said, Jay was 1 for 6. Isaac took one shot, but they were plus 16. Dean Wade was a plus 17. It's a matter of, again, the balance of the group, but you can be punished if you're out there with a bad group, right? So it's not always about the individual. A lot of times it has to do with, the pairings that are on the floor. And I thought those guys came off the bench and gave us a huge spark. They were really good defensively, and you saw, the outcome of it.
Certainly not asking you to evaluate another team's personnel, but they didn't have the services of their best player tonight. How much different did they play without Damian than what you had seen with him on film?
You can't say enough about what he does to a basketball game and the impact that he has. He carries a weight and a gravity every single possession that he's on the floor. You know what I mean? He's the elite of the elite shot makers and shot creators, and the pressure that puts on the rest of your defense. So, they're a good basketball team. They've got really nice young pieces. Jeremy Grant, I think, everybody knows what he's capable of. But, it's when you miss a Damian Lillard, it's hard to replace that with all the things that he's capable of doing.
Danny Cunningham, ESPN Cleveland. JB, a week ago, you guys were in Milwaukee and lost your 5th straight. Now you guys have won 4 straight and go back to Milwaukee on Friday. What's different about this team now than a week ago?
I think we have a better understanding of what we need to do, to be the team that we want to be. And, again, that was in a spell where, we were, too much free-flowing and, playing at a tempo that we're not comfortable at, that doesn't suit us. So I think, we've gotten back to that. And then, again, understanding, executing at the end of basketball games. So, obviously they're a really good team, and it'll be a tough challenge for us. But, I feel confident that our guys are up for it.
What do you think the way Dean was able to move around in his return?
They look good. For a guy who hasn't been able to play, 5-on-5, and not a lot of practice time just because of the way the schedule is. I thought he did a good job, and I expect him to get better, the more reps he gets.
Oh, Spencer, sorry.
You're good. Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. It seems like he does it for you every night, but J.A. was really kind of ahead of the competition tonight, just with his thoughts, I think. Offensively and defensively, how do you feel like he used his smarts this evening?
He's in the right place the majority of the time. It's a simple concept, but he always goes where the defense isn't, right? And a lot of guys have a hard time figuring that out. But it's one of the things that he does, like for a big guy who's not, a 3-point threat, how do you create space for your teammates in small spaces? And I think Jarrett does a great job of, just finding those gaps and where to position himself, where he creates enough space where, big guys have to make tough decisions. Do you stop the ball or do you give up a dunk? A lot of times you look out there and big guys are just in the way, and it ruins the spacing for everybody else. But he does a great job of creating room for those guys to operate. And then, defensively, he's a savant. He understands what you're trying to do before you're trying to do it. And he's always puts himself in the right spot, so he's not just reacting. He anticipates what you're going to do to put himself in the right place.
I feel like we haven't spoken about him much this whole stand, but Donovan was just getting downhill at will tonight. The luxury of having a guy that can do that, can pull up, can catch, shoot, whatever you need him to do, just what does that mean for this team?
I mean, it makes everybody better. Defenses have a tough decision to make. A lot of times they're going to err on the side of trying to stop him, which creates for everybody else, right? And he's a willing passer, but he can finish, he can get to the free throw line, he can make shots at all three levels. So you got to pick your poison defensively. And sometimes, with as good as these guys are offensively, even when you make that decision, it's the wrong decision because he's just that good.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
Going off of what Spencer was talking about in Jarrett, but flipping it to the offensive end of the floor. Last year, him and Darius created one of the best pick and roll combos. And this year, him and Donovan are the best in the NBA. What makes Jarrett such a good pick and roll big?
He's patient, and he's scientific in the fact of understanding what his teammate is trying to do. Like, he's not just out there, running and moving around, and he knows when to set the screen, when to hold the screen, when to get out of a screen. He does a really good job of quickly getting his head around to see where the ball is. He's got really good hands and great feet. So all of those things, with that intelligence, just make him better than most guys, big guys in pick and roll, and then add the vertical spacing that he gives you when you can just throw the ball, to the top of the backboard, he can go and get it.
And you guys are now 8-1 at home. On the road, it's a little bit different. What is it going to take for you guys to carry the style of play and the success that you've had at home to the road?
I think we'll be fine. Again, you go back to some of those road games, majority of them, right? We had leads in fourth quarters, and it was a matter of us figuring out how to close. So I think we're learning. I think we're better now closing, and I think we'll give ourselves a chance because of it.
Thank you.
Anything else in a row? Okay.
Thank you, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.